Welcome everybody to another stream. I'm going to be streaming very briefly tonight because I still have some work to do for Monday morning. So I will not be here very long, but I did want to announce that I did indeed test the o1-Pro model tonight from OpenAI, their most powerful model. And I gave it the 2024 Putnam Math Exam. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's an annual math competition that always happens, I think, in December, and it is arguably the hardest math exam for college math undergraduates in the whole world. I believe most people don't even crack a single point on the exam. It's 6 hours, 3 hours on 2 days, 6 questions each day for a total of 12 questions that are 10 points each, so it's a maximum score of 120. Though the highest scores tend to be, I think, in the 90s. So this is going to be very brief because I'm not going to have enough time to go through everything, but I do have my tweet here and I do have the Google Doc that features all of my chats, except for B2. B2 has a question that has a diagram, so if you look at that, if I could actually find it, so here's the diagram. So I can't share this one because it has a picture in it. This is a picture from the actual exam. And it actually was one of the questions it got wrong. So anyways, I was just going to briefly talk about it. I'm going to make a more in-depth video in the coming days or weeks perhaps, because I want to take a look at how it did compared to actual people. Because if you go to the Putnam archive, the winners and scores have yet to be released yet for 2024. So we don't actually know how it did relative to actual humans. If you go to like 2023, like the highest score was like a 98. If you go to 2022, the highest score was like 101. 2021, 119. Wow, that's actually really high, and so on and so forth. So it's hard to tell where exactly it fell, but it, from my understanding of the questions and the solutions, which I provided here, it got 8 correct. 1, I don't know how to grade. 3 looks like it was clearly wrong. There's one that it definitely got wrong because it's this one where it says yes and the answer providing the solutions is a clear no. So it says, why can't you show it? Because it has a picture, says Maestro. So I'm not entirely sure, Maestro. It's just that it doesn't let me share it. So I tried to share it. Like if I actually go here and I tried to share this thing, it says, yeah, sharing conversations with user uploaded images is not yet supported. So that is why I can't share that one exactly quite yet. Everything else, though, does have, it does not have an image, so I can share those. But anyways, yes. So this is what I've been up to this past few hours. And interestingly enough, if you look at the breakdown of its time spent on the questions, in total it only spent just a little bit over an hour thinking on all of these questions, which a normal human would get 6 hours or 3 hours across 2 days. And the average time per problem was about 5 minutes. So that is pretty interesting, though there's quite some variance here. Actually, in fact, I was pretty impressed that it took, or impressed, I was shocked actually that it took over 10 minutes for these 2 questions, or roughly 10 minutes or so. So if you're just joining, I gave the OpenAI o1-Pro model, the Putnam exam, that was just conducted, I think, last week, right, December 7th. So this is after it was released. So definitely stuff is not in the training set. Well, very likely it's not in the training set. I can't say definitely, but more likely than not, it's not. And it says here, for that one question, you can share the screenshot. Share the screenshot? You mean just like, you want me to share that one here? Question mark? I'll just put the diagram here in case people want to see it. But anyways, yeah, so in essence, it did pretty good from what I could understand. And if you look at its actual chats here, so maybe I should pull up the solutions so we can just show them side by side real quick. Don't know if I'll have time to go through all of them really, but I will try and show you. And I'll be honest, I basically just gave it full credit if it got like the answer based on what the the solution said it was. I didn't really check that carefully, but I made sure that it wasn't questions where it knew the answer in advance, where you actually had to like find something. So let's see here. So for example, right. So for this one, right, the answer is n equals 1. Cases that it's n equals 1, and it goes through all this math to show that. What else do we have here? We have like a2. So a2 is what is this, right? And then again, these are questions that are not they don't just give you the answer. Like you actually do have to do some work to get to them. So I figured since it actually got to the answer in the end, that the logic was more or less sound. Though people are more than welcome to go into a Google Doc and tell me, and if it was wrong. But again, this is basically how I gauge things. If the question was not just obviously asking, like, for example, right, these questions are saying determine this, or for which real polynomials is there a polynomial q such that this, and so these don't just say what the answer is. You actually do have to get to them. You do have to get to them through some math here. So these questions, again, I don't have any clue as to actually how to do them. So take my grading with a grain of salt, but I did my best to look at the solution and the answers, especially the ones, like I said, that don't just tell you what the answer is. I was pretty confident that it did enough work to warrant the answer. The ones that it failed on, actually, I'm not actually too surprised. Like B2 is a very geometrical question. So if you look at B2, right here, it says it's a very, very geometrical question, and has this diagram, which I did give o1-Pro. And if you look at the answer here to B2, it's pretty funny. Let me go here to B2. Where is it? Yeah, so the answer to B2 was no, there is no such sequence, right? And then the answer it gave me was yes, it is possible to create such a sequence. So that was a case where I was like, okay, that looks like it's a flat out incorrect answer that I was pretty confident in assessing. If people want to do more of a thorough check, you're more than welcome to. I want to do I do want to do some statistics with like these times and seeing how it performed to actual humans. But these times were just pretty incredible. Even the ones where it took a long time, these are way shorter than what a human would do. Because for 12 questions in 6 hours, right, that's about half an hour per question, and it's taking somewhere between 2 and at most 12 minutes per question. So this thing is moving more quickly than I would argue probably solved the test faster than any human who actually tried to go through all those questions, one by one. I would bet a lot of money on that. And so, anyways, that is all I really wanted to say for now, because I have to get back to doing some work tonight. But do keep your eyes open in the next coming days or week or so, because when the actual human participant results come out, I will be very curious to know where it placed, and then also just look at the distribution of questions. And I think we can actually learn quite a bit about the questions that I got wrong. The questions that I got wrong, from what I remember, so let's see, A3 is a question that I got wrong. I believe A3 is like a question where you have to prove something. So let's go to A3 here. A3, do there exist A and C, do such that the fraction. Right. So actually, this question, right, has an answer of, I believe it has an answer of like pair. Where is it? Right. So question A3 has this answer, right? AB equals 2, 1, CD equals 1, 2. And then if you look at the actual chat here, it came down to saying it is not currently known whether such a pair exists. So I'm not even I can't really go through this because I don't really know what all this means exactly. But it is not known. I just found that funny that it said, no, I have no idea if there is such a solution. Another question that it got wrong, we already said, was the geometrical one where the answer was, it said yes when the answer is no. And then another one that I got wrong is this one. I don't remember this one exactly. What was this one? It was B5. So B5 was, let's see, blah, 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 show that Fn can be expressed with negative coefficients. Okay, yeah, to be honest, I don't actually know if it got this one entirely wrong, but its answer just didn't look like anything like the answer in the solution. And so maybe I shouldn't automatically say it's wrong, but it just didn't look like anything that I saw in the actual official solution. So I can't even see it here. Yeah, like it just didn't seem to follow any of these steps. And I had a hard time determining if it indeed was correct or not. So it is not known. Translation, I don't know. Yeah, so it doesn't know. But yeah, so B5 is one that people might want to take a look at, those of you who actually have some skill at these kinds of competitions, because, you know, just looking at its answer, I just didn't see the connection here. Actually, wait a minute. It does kind of do something like that. Yeah, okay, maybe someone will need to take a look at it here, because I have a hard time following it here. It used different notation than the one that's provided in the solution. Yeah, so anyways, and I think in the next video that I'll make, I'll probably have some testing. I might do some grading, not just with me, but I might get some other reasoning models to grade these problems as well, and then maybe we can come up with a better, you know, final score for it. But I won't be able to do that too. So that was that one. And then this one, I actually have no idea. So this one is, I think it's B3. You're right. So B3 is like a proof. And as you know, proofs are one of those things where they'll tell you what the answer is, and you have to just kind of show it. I will give it credit in the sense that I think it did start in a very similar way to what the answer is for B3, because it does define this function here. I don't even know if that actually was part of it. So hold on a sec here. B3, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Proof that this. Yeah, I'm not so sure how well that proof it formulated was, because yeah. So, okay. That is all I really can say for now. I know it's super short, but I actually am gonna get back to doing some work tonight. I just thought I'd let you guys know that keep your eyes on the lookout for a future video that will feature more sort of an in-depth analysis and comparison with this, and the human results here. Says, have you tried playing around with the process to get the question, but also say something like reason through each steps and verify it? No, I did not. So, I mean, that's a good idea. I just gave it the question just verbatim from the exam, right? I just gave it the exam question taken right from the tech document for each of them, just for some consistency there. And we just let it, zero shot it and see what it is. So this is the zero shot attempt, just taking the questions from the tech file that the Putnam archive has, right? So for each question, all I did was just I went to the tech document, and then I just pulled the question right from the tech document and pasted it into the prompt window, and then it did it. So we can do more of an in-depth analysis in the future. But for now, I just wanted to see what the zero-shot result was, and the zero-shot result seems to be something like a top 1-2% result, which I think is pretty great. Though I do write here, if you do read my post, I'm still like not entirely sure how to feel about all this, because on the one hand, I feel like it should be impressive, but I think o1-Preview surprised me even more because it was the first time I saw a reasoning model of that caliber do something like this. And even though I think o1-Pro is clearly better than o1-Preview, it just feels like the jump in performance is not as dramatic as, say, going from ChatGPT 4.0 to ChatGPT o1-Preview. Right? So I feel like I'm becoming more desensitized to it, right? I feel as if my expectations have just become too high, or I'm expecting them to do something that will completely shock me. And when they don't maybe exactly shock me, but when they kind of just meet me where I kind of expect them to be, it kind of, in a way, it feels a bit of a letdown. Do you think we hit the wall in progress, as the rumors say? Truthfully, I don't know. I don't know enough about what goes into all the training and the pre-training and the just the scale of these systems. I do know that we're sort of running up against the issue of data and the amount of data that we can train these things on, or novel data that we can train these things on. And that's why synthetic data seems to be the way to go moving forward. I've been interested a lot in this question of synthetic data, but I honestly don't have much of an idea as to the credence or not of these sort of walls they're hitting. I mean, it's not like there's some known fundamental law of nature that says this is, that they can go as far as they've currently gone. Or maybe there is some undiscovered law that says, maybe there's just a maximum amount of like compute or ability of these models to progress, though it's unclear. It says here, they're only solving correctly our hardest problems. I know, right? That's the funniest part. It's the funniest part to me is that they are doing things that I can't do. Right? I think if I studied really hard for this test for maybe a year or something, or I went back and just focused on this test and what I had to do to study for it, maybe I could crack a good score over on it. But the fact that it spends 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 21 seconds over the course of these 12 questions, where a human would normally get 6 times that amount of time, and it's still performing in the top 1 to 2%. I think we should sort of keep all of that into perspective. The strange thing, though, that I think is that I don't know, like, it's cool that it can do this, but yet it's still, I'm not so sure I would trust it to do other things. Right? It's like I'm trusting it to do these complex math questions, but maybe because I haven't been introduced to these agents yet that are supposedly coming, that I'm still kind of skeptical as to like seeing this agent, or having agents do stuff. Maybe come 2025, when the agents arrive, I'm going to completely change my mind and I'll eat my words here. But I don't fully trust it to do other things. Does that make sense? It's like, sure, I trust this to do maybe math and physics questions at the college and even grad school level better than perhaps the average person in those settings. But I don't know if I'd fully trust like an o1-Pro model to drive an autonomous vehicle, or I'm trying to think what else I wouldn't let it do. That's like one of the key examples that I would say. It's like I'm not so sure I would trust this thing to like maneuver a vehicle of sorts. And says, do you have Starlight says, do you have an estimate for if/when we'll get AGI? So I'm currently reading Machines of Loving Grace by Dario Amodei of Anthropic, and I've been reading it and listening to it. It's like an audiobook kind of thing on YouTube, and I'm really a fan of what he's saying here. And his best bet, I mean, he's speculating here, but I think he is saying 2026, right, as early as that, and so I'm not sure. And have you heard of Waymo? They have over 100K rides per week. Yes, I know, Euro. I don't live in San Francisco, but I live close by it. I actually found like the Waymo lot in San Francisco, like in the South of Market area, where there was just like tons of them in this lot. Yeah, I mean, but is Waymo using o1-Pro? You know what I mean? I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It's like this specific model, I'm not so sure yet, because I have seen these LLMs just mess up certain things, like mathematically speaking, that would be like a catastrophic error. I guess because of the stochastic nature of them when they don't have tools at their disposal. I wouldn't use it. But if they're allowed to control things that are more deterministic, then I think that's fine. Like if they controlled like a calculator or something, or like a Wolfram Alpha, right? Then I'm more comfortable in that sense, as opposed to them doing the calculation just by chain of thought themselves. There are many professors still resisting to use AI, but AI is becoming an indispensable tool for teaching and research. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's, you know, it's unfortunate that there's a lot of resistance to AI in academia, and I know a lot of my former colleagues definitely have a hesitation to adopting the tool, as well as just have doubts about its effectiveness and usefulness. They're controlling defense systems. Yes, I know. I know, Euro. That we're being controlled more by these AI systems than we really even know, and that's maybe a little bit terrifying. Perhaps it's like I've just turned off that part of my brain to, because it's just gonna stress me out too much if I think about it. What do you think about Google's new quantum chip and people rumoring that it confirms parallel universes? I don't really know about the whole parallel universes argument there. And I'm someone who typically likes to believe in the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, though I don't have a deep enough, I think, philosophical take on this to argue one way or another. I do think that it's cool that what Willow has been able to do, but I mean, it's very impressive that it's been able to reduce the amount of errors as they scale. Though in terms of size of a qubit, right? I think we're still an order of magnitude or a couple of order of magnitudes away from making a very 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 useful quantum chip to do like a useful calculation in like materials science or chemistry or biology or things of that nature. The calculation it performed from the random circuit sampling, while it is impressive that it was able to achieve this benchmark, it is just kind of a benchmark that doesn't really have any practical application. But you don't necessarily need to have practical application to be impressive. It's just that I think I don't want it to be too overhyped. If that makes sense. Terence Tao seems like embracing it. He is giving a lot of lectures on using AI in mathematics. Yeah, actually, I think he gave a talk with OpenAI recently, and I wanted to watch that talk. I think it was like an hour long. I didn't have a time to take a look through that. So, yeah, I'd like to know what he thinks about it and what his take on o1 and o1-Pro are. I'm sure he must have posted about it. I just haven't had time to look. But if that's okay, there is a Kyle in another world that is fully confident about many worlds. I'm sure there must be if many worlds is a thing. So I am actually more inclined to adopt the many worlds interpretation than like the standard Copenhagen one. Something about the standard Copenhagen interpretation I don't really like. But nevertheless, they all give basically the same answer in terms of calculations. Okay. Alright, so I think that will do it for me tonight. It's already 24 minutes in here, just about. But just thought I would share my little project of tonight with you all. And when the human results come out from the participants, I think we'll revisit this. But feel free to take a look at that, and I will revisit this when the time is right. And the last question I'll answer: what do you think about quantum computing in the next 10 years? Truthfully, I don't know. I mean, I think if AI advances, if we get AGI in the next 2 to 3 years, then perhaps these technologies can act as some sort of positive feedback loop where one kind of builds off the other, right? So we get more powerful AI, it'll figure out a way to make quantum computing more efficient and less expensive and more practical. Then that develops, and then we can do more calculations. So anyways, actually, if you want, I would recommend looking at the book Convergence, Quantum Computing and AI, which I made a video about on my channel. But yes, I really recommend, if you're interested in the intersection of the two, to take a look at this book, because I did give it a read and I made a video about it, and I think it's interesting. Okay, so that's it for tonight. I got to get back to writing a paper, which I am not the most excited about. But I will see you all soon, and I hope you can have a good night wherever you are. Take it easy.